The Galactic Council Chamber was one of the grandest places in the known universe. It floated above the bright clouds of Kethor Prime, a shining city made of glass, metal, and light. Thousands of alien delegates filled the long, curved hall, their shapes and colors so different that it looked like a living ocean. Some had wings, others shimmered like liquid, and a few floated in small life support spheres. They had gathered to discuss one troubling topic that had spread through the stars like a storm: humans of Earth. For many years, the Council had watched humanity grow from a single-planet species to a people who built colonies across their solar system. They had sent ships to moons, asteroids, and even far beyond their own star. They built machines that could survive heat, ice, and radiation that killed other species. The Council first thought humans were reckless. Some thought they were brave. No one could agree. Ambassador Kethar of the Sithari spoke first. His voice was low and full of worry. They spread too fast. They do not respect natural order. They do not ask for permission. They just go. A tall alien from the Varn Republic, whose body was covered in silver scales, gave a hiss of disagreement. They are small and fragile. They fight each other all the time. They will burn out soon enough. Other ambassadors whispered and argued. Reports showed that humans built ships faster than anyone expected. They had no psionics, no ancient technology, no help from the old empires. Yet they grew stronger every year. For a time, most aliens ignored them. Humans were seen as noisy newcomers who loved to argue and fight. But everything changed when the Thalkir Dominion, a proud warrior empire, started a trade war with a human mining company near a distant border system. At first, it seemed small. One mining ship entered what the Thalkir called their territory. Humans claimed it was unowned space. The Thalkir patrol fired a warning shot. The humans fired back. One Thalkir ship was destroyed. What began as a misunderstanding turned into a crisis. In the council chamber, the news arrived like a thunderclap. The Thalkir ambassador stood and declared in a proud voice, "The Dominion will not forgive this insult. We will teach these Earth beings what true power is." The council murmured with unease. The Thalkir were strong, an empire with a long history of conquest. Their fleet stretched across dozens of systems. They believed no one could challenge them. Only a few voices spoke against the declaration. Ambassador Dalen, a calm and gray-skinned elder, raised his hand. "You do not understand humans. I have studied them. They are not like us. They do not surrender when they should. They fight with a kind of madness that frightens even their own kind." The Thalkir laughed. "They are primitives. They use iron and steel, not living ships or quantum mines. They are nothing." "Perhaps," Dalen said quietly, "but nothing can be more dangerous than a creature that refuses to die." The meeting ended in confusion. The council decided to stay neutral. They did not wish to anger the Thalkir or the humans, yet everyone felt something dark approaching. Far away on Earth in the city of Houston, the humans held their own meeting. The United Earth Defense Command gathered in a large white hall filled with officers and scientists. Commander Laura Banks stood at the center of the table. She was in her late 30s, sharp-eyed and calm under pressure. Behind her, holographic displays showed the burning wreck of a human ship, destroyed by the Thalkir. "They fired first," said Captain Aaron Blake, one of her closest officers. "We lost 37 people. The Thalkir are demanding our full surrender of the outer mining systems." Laura Banks did not blink. "And if we refuse?" "They said they'll send their fleets." The room went silent. Many of the officers looked worried. The Thalkir were known for their massive battleships, covered in armor and armed with plasma weapons far stronger than human guns. Humans had technology, but not the numbers or experience of the old empires. Laura crossed her arms and looked at the glowing map. "They think we're weak. They think we'll beg." "They're wrong," Aaron sighed. "So what do we do?" "We respond," she said firmly. "Not with fear, not with surrender. We respond with truth." She turned to the communications officer, a young woman named Lisa Monroe. "Open a channel to the Thalkir High Command." A moment later, the blue light of the alien transmission shimmered across the room. The Thalkir warlord appeared on the screen, a creature with 4 bright eyes and armor that glowed like fire. He spoke with arrogance. "You humans are foolish. You build in places that do not belong to you. You kill our patrols. Now you will pay." Laura Banks stared at him without emotion. "We did not start this. You attacked our people. You will surrender all colonies within 3 solar days, the Thalkir hissed, or we will burn your worlds. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The humans in the room felt the air grow cold. Then Laura leaned forward and said in a clear, steady voice, "Congratulations, you just declared war on the most lethal species alive." The Thalkir laughed, thinking it was a bluff, but the humans did not laugh. The transmission ended instantly. Laura turned to her officers. "Prepare the fleet. If they want a war, we'll give them one." On Kethor Prime, the Council received a copy of the human message only hours later. The entire chamber listened to the short transmission. When the voice of Commander Banks spoke, a wave of silence passed through the crowd. Many aliens did not understand the tone, but they felt something in it. Cold certainty. The Zorth ambassador asked, "What does she mean by lethal species? Are they threatening extinction?" Ambassador Dalen replied, "She is not threatening. She is warning." The council members looked uneasy. One of the younger delegates whispered, "They sound like predators." Dalen nodded. "They are. But they are not simple beasts. They are thinking predators." A small group of observers laughed nervously. One of them said, "They are soft, made of water and weak flesh." "How dangerous can they be?" Dalen looked at him with tired eyes. "You have never seen what they do when cornered. They destroy themselves before they let an enemy win. They fight in storms and fire, even in airless space. They build weapons out of scraps. They don't fear death. They use it." The laughter faded. In the days that followed, the council received new reports. Every human ship had gone dark. No signals, no transmissions, no trade. The Sol system was silent, as if humans had vanished. Yet spy probes near Mars saw huge movements of machinery. Asteroids were being moved into strange orbits. Energy readings were rising to dangerous levels. Some council members wanted to send a peace envoy. Others warned against interference. The Thalkir ambassador proudly told everyone that their fleets were already on the way to Earth. "We will return victorious," he said. "Their planet will burn." Ambassador Dalen only sighed. "No," he whispered. "Your fleets will not return at all." Far from Kethor Prime, deep in human space, the preparation had already begun. Shipyards on Luna worked day and night. Factories on Earth produced weapons faster than ever before. Human engineers reprogrammed old mining drones into self-guided missiles. Every colony sent supplies. Even civilians volunteered for defense duty. They did not panic. They organized. Commander Banks stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Horizon. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried the weight of everything that was coming. She looked out at the stars and said softly, "They wanted to test us. They're about to learn what that means." Beside her, Captain Blake adjusted the tactical display. "The Thalkir fleet will reach the Sol border in 2 weeks." "Good," Laura said. "We'll be ready." Lisa Monroe smiled faintly. "Do you think the council will stop them?" Laura shook her head. "The council only watches, they talk. But we act." Far beyond their sight, hundreds of alien species followed the news, watching with curiosity or fear. Some thought the humans were fools for standing against a great empire. Others quietly hoped the humans might surprise the galaxy. No one could guess what would happen next. In the quiet of space between the stars, the humans were preparing something new, something no alien mind had seen before. They were not building walls. They were building traps. They were not planning escape routes. They were planning total victory. And somewhere in the deep halls of the Thalkir Fleet Command, the warlord who had laughed at the human message received one final piece of intelligence. It was a recording of the human commander's words. He listened again and again. Each time the same line echoed through the dark room. "Congratulations. You just declared war on the most lethal species alive." The warlord frowned. For the first time he felt something strange, a small cold feeling in his chest. It was not anger. It was fear. Outside his ship, the stars burned quietly, unaware that a storm was coming. The Galactic Council met again after the human broadcast. The great hall of Kethor Prime was filled with a nervous quiet. The huge windows that showed the stars now seemed darker, as if the whole galaxy was holding its breath. The council members had heard many declarations of war before, but this one was different. It was short, calm, and spoken with absolute confidence. Many could not understand why those simple words from Commander Laura Banks felt so heavy. Ambassador Dalen sat in silence, his gray skin reflecting the dim lights. He had studied humans for decades and warned the Council many times that Earth was not like other young civilizations. But no one had ever listened. Now, as he looked around at the frightened faces of other ambassadors, he knew it was already too late. Across the table, the Thalkir ambassador stood proudly, his armor shining with symbols of victory. "The humans are bold," he said, "but boldness is not strength. Our fleets are already on the move. Soon the skies above their planet will burn." A few aliens clapped, but most stayed silent. Ambassador Dalen rose slowly. "You are underestimating them," he said in a quiet voice. "They are not afraid of pain. They are not afraid of loss. When you strike them, they only grow harder. I have read their histories. Every time they faced death, they learned how to kill it." The Thalkir laughed. "Words from an old scholar. We deal in war, not stories." Dalen looked at him sadly. "Then your war will become their story." The council session ended in chaos. Messages came in from dozens of systems, warning that human colonies had gone silent. Mining stations on Mars and Ceres no longer responded. The Thalkir took this as proof of human panic, but Dalen knew better. He knew humans did not run. They prepared. Far from Kethor Prime, in the red dust of Mars, the humans were working without rest. Massive machines moved across the ground, carrying metal plates, rocket parts, and weapon systems. Every shipyard was alive with noise. Commander Laura Banks stood at the control deck of the base, surrounded by engineers and officers. Captain Aaron Blake pointed at the holographic display of the Sol system. "They'll enter through the outer rim," he said. "Their main fleet will come from the Karth line. Smaller groups will try to flank us from Jupiter's shadow." Lisa Monroe adjusted the data feed. "That gives us 14 days before they reach our orbit." Laura nodded. "Then we use every hour. How many rail platforms do we have operational?" 243, Aaron answered. "But we can double that if we use the mining stations as foundations." "Do it," she said. "And make sure the decoy satellites are in place. I want their sensors to see what we want them to see." The engineers around them moved quickly. Every asteroid near the belt became a weapon site. Some held rail cannons, others cloaked missile pods. Even cargo ships were refitted with armor and loaded with fusion bombs. Humanity was turning its own system into a trap. Later that evening, Laura walked alone outside the base. The sky above Mars was red and quiet. She could see Earth as a tiny blue dot in the distance. For a moment, she felt the weight of what was coming. War with an empire that had destroyed countless worlds. But deep inside, she did not feel fear. She felt purpose. Her communication device buzzed. It was a message from the President of the United Earth Council. "Commander Banks," the voice said, "the Council authorizes full defense protocol. You have command of all fleets. Do what must be done." Laura closed the channel. The responsibility was heavy, but she had no doubt. "Understood," she whispered. On Earth, the mood was different. The cities were calm, but everyone knew what was happening. Factories worked day and night. Civilians volunteered to help the defense network. Children drew pictures of rockets and soldiers. News channels spoke carefully, never using the word fear, only readiness. Humanity had been divided before by wars, but now they were united by survival. Meanwhile, the Thalkir Dominion celebrated. In their capital on the planet Korath, banners of victory hung in the streets. The warlord commanding the invasion, General Vorthon, gave speeches to his people. "The humans are defiant, but they are few. Our fleets will crush them before their sun rises twice." The crowds cheered, believing him. But in the command chambers, some of his officers were not so sure. One of them, Admiral Sereth, spoke softly. "General, the human silence worries me. No transmissions, no distress calls." "They are planning something," Vorthon waved a hand. "They are afraid. Let them hide behind their rocks. When we arrive, they will beg." The Thalkir fleet continued its journey, hundreds of massive ships cutting through the dark. Their energy trails glowed like fire across the void. They had never lost a war in centuries. They could not imagine they ever would. Back on Mars, Captain Aaron Blake and Lisa Monroe stood with Commander Banks as the first test of the rail platforms began. From the surface of the moon, Deimos, a giant electromagnetic cannon, fired a projectile across space. It struck a target asteroid millions of kilometers away and vaporized it instantly. The control room erupted in cheers. Aaron smiled. "That's one less problem. We can link the firing systems across the network. The moment they enter the belt, they'll be in range." Laura looked at the display calmly. "Good, but remember, they will adapt. We must hit them fast and disappear before they can target us. Lisa nodded. We'll use drone echoes to make our platforms look 10 times larger. Their scanners won't know what's real. Perfect, Laura said. If the Thalkir think they're fighting ghosts, that's exactly what I want. While the human fleet worked in silence, the Galactic Council continued to argue. Many wanted to stay neutral. Some wanted to contact Earth to offer peace, but the Thalkir ambassador blocked every motion. He claimed it was too late for diplomacy. Ambassador Dalen sat alone in his chamber reading the reports again. He saw the energy spikes in Sol's system and understood what they meant. The humans were building weapons at a speed no other race could match. He sent a private message to the council president. If the Thalkir do not withdraw now, they will be destroyed. Tell them to stop. But the message came too late. 10 days later, the Thalkir fleet crossed the edge of the Sol system. Their long-range sensors detected nothing unusual, only a few small mining stations and weak satellites. They thought the humans were hiding near Earth. General Vorthen laughed. Their silence is surrender, he said. Prepare for bombardment. Inside the horizon, the human flagship, Laura Banks watched the enemy fleet appear on the holographic map. She could see every formation, every ship's movement. Her voice was calm. Let them come closer. Wait until they reach the belt. Captain Blake looked tense. That's within 1 million kilometers, Commander. Are you sure? Yes, she said. That's where the surprise begins. Hours passed. The Thalkir fleet advanced. Thousands of alien soldiers cheered inside their ships. But something strange happened as they crossed the asteroid belt. Their sensors began to flicker. Dozens of false readings appeared. Ghost ships, empty signals, and strange power spikes. Admiral Sareth frowned. General, something is wrong. Our scanners are being jammed. Impossible, Vorthen said. Fire on anything that moves. But before they could react, space lit up. Dozens of rail cannons hidden among the asteroids fired at once. Hypervelocity rounds slammed into the Thalkir ships, tearing them apart in seconds. Their shields failed. Their formation broke. Then came the second wave. Stealth missiles from the dark side of Jupiter guided by human AIs. Within minutes, chaos filled the alien fleet. Ships collided, alarms screamed, and communication systems failed. On the horizon, the crew watched silently. Laura gave only one command: no mercy. They started this. The Thalkir tried to retreat, but the humans had mined every possible exit. Every time they turned, another explosion greeted them. On Kethor Prime, the Galactic Council watched the real-time feed from distant probes. The Great Hall was silent again, but this time the silence came from horror. Hundreds of alien eyes watched as the mighty Thalkir fleet, once the strongest armada in the region, was wiped out in less than 15 minutes. Ambassador Dalen lowered his head. I warned them, he said quietly. The Thalkir ambassador stood frozen. His voice trembled. That cannot be real. That cannot— It is, Dalen interrupted. The humans have done what no one has ever done to you. They have ended you. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Some called the humans monsters. Others called them geniuses. But everyone now understood the same truth. The humans were not just survivors. They were predators. On the horizon, Commander Laura Banks stood before the main window looking out at the drifting wreckage. The stars reflected off her eyes. They wanted a war, she said softly. Now they'll remember who gave it to them. Captain Blake turned to her. Should we send a message to the council? Yes, she said. Tell them the Sol system is safe. And tell the galaxy. Never mistake our silence for weakness. Outside, the ruins of the Thalkir fleet floated through the darkness, glowing faintly. And in that quiet, a new fear began to grow across the stars, the fear of Earth.